This weekend on Saturday Night Live, Eddie Murphy returned after 30 years off the show. And in his monologue, it was notable for a few reasons, which we're gonna get into. But in part, it was a comment that he made, sort of offhand, that involved Bill Cosby. He said at one point, he was talking about how his life has changed over time. He says, but if you would have told me 30 years ago that I would be this boring stay-at-home house dad and Bill Cosby would be in jail, even I would have took that bet. Who is America's dad now?
But the way he says it, who's America's dad now? Yeah. Which is
that's better delivery.
So funny.
Yes.
I feel like you have to know their beef.
Yeah, wait, before the beef,
okay,
you have to know the current situation because you may not know anything about Bill Cosby. If the last thing that you saw was 80s Bill Cosby, oh my God, the recent news has been terrible.
Stay there for your own health.
Bill Cosby is serving 3 to 10 years in prison after being found guilty in April 2018 on 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault for drugging and sexually assaulting a woman at his home in 2004. Earlier this month, a Pennsylvania appeals court upheld the conviction. And while that is what he's actually serving the time for, he was accused of sexual assault and rape by dozens and dozens of women.
And so back in the 80s, when Eddie Murphy first started being known for his comedy, he was kind of like a raunchy comedian in a funny, it was funny, he was very funny.
Yeah.
And Bill, he gets this call from Bill who basically kind of scolds him for his comedy. Saying
which was raw
and delirious, one could say.
Yeah, one or the other.
But saying that his work is bad for families, kind of like bad for black people, like he cusses too much, all of this, and so the joke is this, right? Like this idea that you're mad at me for cussing while you're raping women.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And that is kind of Bill Cosby's thing. We've seen him go on rants about the black community and God forbid young black guys wear their pants saggy.
Yeah.
God forbid.
While
he's doing what for decades a lot of us didn't know about.
Exactly. And to put it in context, you were telling me earlier, you would have to assume at that point in the 80s, Bill Cosby's about as big as a person
Absolutely, I can imagine if you're a young black comedian and you get a call from Bill,
he's huge.
Mind-blowing, that's life-changing, yeah, that's dreams. And then he basically
attacks you.
Yeah, that's a horrible moment.
Yeah, and so Eddie Murphy
you've got to watch it
because
luckily Richard Pryor comes in and saves the day. But you can't tell the joke on TV.
Yeah, a lot of Richard Pryor quotes on this platform are no longer recognizable as sentences once you cut out the swears, but they are good and they're funny. But anyway, so he makes the joke and you would think that's the end of it. We can just evaluate the performances and everything. But no, Bill Cosby still has a spokesman. Isn't that weird that even after all that, you're rich, so you still have a person who's just protecting your public image?
Which it's gone.
You would think. But they're protecting it. So on Sunday, Cosby's spokesman, Andrew Wyatt, criticized Murphy for the joke, saying it was Cosby who, quote, broke color barriers in the entertainment industry so that Murphy and other comedians like Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart could perform. Murphy's jokes were disparaging, the statement said, adding, one would think that Mr. Murphy was given his freedom to leave the plantation so that he could make his own decisions, but he decided to sell himself back to being a Hollywood slave. Remember, Mr. Murphy, that Bill Cosby became legendary because he used comedy to humanize all races, religions, and genders. But your attacking Mr. Cosby helps to embark on you just becoming clickbait.
One must think very highly of themselves to be in prison on sexual assault charges and feel like they need a publicist to keep bringing themselves more attention.
Yeah.
But also, that was such a small moment in such an epic night of comedy. Nobody was even really thinking about it. I think
it was funny in the moment.
If you got it, and then you move on because there was so much more happening. So just this idea that is very Bill Cosby, this idea that he really thought anybody cares.
Yeah. Although, it's America.
But now we care because you did this
we know,
dumb stuff.
He probably still has a lot of fans that are defending him. So just briefly, so now we've covered the important stuff.
Yeah.
It was a good episode.
It was great.
It was,
so
and
great.
the monologue was great.
It was so great. We got these 5 comedy greats because I do feel like Kenan Thompson deserves his flowers.
Yeah, if you didn't see it, Eddie Murphy is doing his thing, and I think Tracy Morgan comes out at first and joins him, makes a joke, and he had a sketch for him to do or something. Then Chris Rock comes out, then Dave Chappelle comes out, and then Beck Bennett tries to get in a word, and Kenan shoots him to the side. It was one of the funniest things the whole night.
It was funny.
And just like Eddie Murphy hasn't been there for 3 decades. And to see them all on the stage, it was amazing. Like, how rarely do you see that much comedic talent, like, all together?
And like them all being there to support Eddie, it was cool.
Yeah,
it was nice.
Exactly. Yeah, and good sketches too. If you haven't seen it, I know that like SNL is like very, like a lot of people have not been interested in it for a long time.
This was the funniest episode I've seen in years.
Exactly, and I get it. A lot of the humor can be like really like boomerish or whatever, but it's also pretty funny, and they got a lot of really talented people in there. Like Keenan is amazing, Cecily Strong is amazing, Kate McKinnon is amazing. Like it's worth looking into. Thank you for watching this clip from The Damage Report. For more content from the show and access to TYT Network members-only exclusives, go to tyt.com/Brooke. Wait, no, it's tyt.com/John. Go to tyt.com/John to sign up.